every company says that they have great culture.
I'm sure they do, but I think the people you need to ask are the actual team members that work within that company.
Yeah, so how do you go about measuring culture then in a company?
I think there's ways to measure. You can do like almost like CSAT, internal satisfaction surveys. I think it's important to do those anonymously and get a real sense of what people think about the business, what they struggle with within the business, and just generally how they feel about working there.
Yeah. I worked at a company where it was interesting because all the employees themselves really loved working together. But at a higher level, people didn't like the leadership. And it was interesting because people would be in like little huddles and talk about the things they didn't like. But then there is a survey and they're too scared. Some people are too scared to give honest feedback because they're like, especially if you're a small team, if I give feedback in a survey, even if it is anonymous, it's going to be pretty evident that it was me giving that feedback. So, well, I'm always the bad cop in every company because I don't care. I would just say my say. So I think people just go tell Tanya and she will call out the people that needs to be called out. So I think surveys can definitely help, especially if you're a larger company, anonymous. It's easier to stay anonymous. But for smaller companies, I guess that's a little harder because people do tend to talk among themselves. So I think maybe it's having. So maybe how do you prevent even before that? Like you don't want people to be unhappy and not bring that up with leadership. So how does leadership create a culture where people feel like they can give honest feedback and like something would happen, but it won't be bad. Like my honest feedback is valued rather than I'm gonna get punished for giving my honest feedback.
Well, I think there's two things that jump out at me there is I think culture can be good within a team and bad within the company. And they say people they don't leave a company, they leave bad managers.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good sort of litmus test. And then the second thing is that is wearing your culture on your sleeve if someone gives you honest feedback and then they get retribution because of that feedback. You've asked for feedback, you've received it, and you don't like it, so now you take it out on the employee if you figure out who's done it, which is, I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty telling of the company culture that you're working within. So yeah, like team by team, I think what you could do is like those 360 surveys. I don't know, maybe every 6 months, run those. What do people think about their direct manager, not specifically about the company? I've been through some of those as a manager, and it's been jarring, and it's been not nice to hear some of the feedback. But without that, how do you learn and grow as a leader and a people manager? So I think that's another way that you can look at culture if you do have those pots of teams that like really enjoy the work and working within their team, but on a wider scale, there could be issues.
We recently did a culture survey in our company, and one of the feedback points was capacity, which we know as a fast-growing company, getting people in through the door, upskilling them, training them, because it is quite a technical role, the specific team that is feeling the pain. And I would hope to think the actions we took, so we presented all the data back to the company the week after it was done, so everyone could see all the results. And the biggest thing was capacity, and what we ended up doing was promoting one of our internal team members to become resource planner. The sole purpose of the role is to plan resources, to understand why people are over capacity, under capacity. Like, it's a planning thing. Until we know what the data says and how we can plan better, we won't know where the gap is. So hopefully as a company, I would say, doing things, creating that visibility of what was the result, and then taking action on it shows that we care enough about the feedback we've gotten from our employees to solve the problems that you have highlighted to us as the employees in our company.
Yeah, I think that follow up and action is the critical bit. Like, yeah, we've got your feedback, and thanks for that. We're going to file it away, and we'll do this again in a year or 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Is because then people won't fill in the form. They're like, what is the point? All I'm doing is exposing myself, and nothing is going to change on the back of it. So yeah, 100%. I think you yourself in a similar but not specifically culture when you do your data analytics consulting and you go and you show your clients this is market trends. These are the things that you need to do in order to move the needle in your business. And it's not me thumb sucking. This is from data. And then people go, oh, this is really interesting. I'm just going to carry on as is. And I know how frustrating that was for you. And it's exactly the same, like how you feel frustrated with that. The same with employees. If they're giving feedback and it doesn't mean anything, then what's the point? Then you're going to get disengaged people people don't really care. The leadership are just doing this as a tick box sort of exercise. So 100% follow up is on those sorts of things are critical.
Yeah, interesting. When I was doing lots of data analytics, I was doing employee surveys as well. There's one specific company that 3 years in a row I did culture and value and analysis for them, where we would analyze internal teams, and every year we found really different things. But what we could see over time is that people felt more connected to the values that they had over time, because we did it every single year and we kept the methodology the same. So it was really interesting. But one of the things that came out of that was we could very quickly identify a specific manager, and because they had like locations all over the country, we could very quickly see where 80% of people, when in terms of open text feedback, qualitative feedback, the wording was very much team and culture, and the location where I am is amazing. And then there was one location where everything was just management. And when we presented that data back to the HR team, they were like, oh yeah, we know this person is a problem. And we could see it immediately, so they knew exactly when we presented. So the data definitely can show you where those issues are. And when you look at Glassdoor data, again, employee feedback, most of the time the negative feedback is line management. That management don't care about me as an employee. And I think when it comes to culture, how you measure culture ultimately is a feeling. How do you feel like you are valued as a human being in your company? It's not just a CSAT rating, like, are you getting training? Are you getting enablement? And because lots of companies put that in place. Oh, you get free gym memberships, you get a nice office environment, you get free lunches. Like, there's lots of employee benefits that you can put in to make it seem like you care about your employees. But if you go speak to them one-on-one as a human being, do they really feel like you care about them as a human, not just a number on a spreadsheet?
Agreed, 100%. I think perks and employee benefits are a very small part of company culture. Yes, it's nice when you put out job adverts and say, look at all this cool stuff that we do for our employees, but real life day to day is something very different. That novelty wears off. I get free lunch, like pretty soon it just becomes part of your day to day, and it's not that bright shiny free lunch sort of thought process. It becomes just a part of your working day.
Yeah.
Like everything really. So it does help drive culture, but it's not the be all end all. You can't say I'm going to put all these benefits in place and cool, my culture's fixed.
Yeah. So at Motherboard, we preach this. Every interview that we have, every new starter, like, culture is number one in our business. And if you are not a good cultural fit, no matter how good you are at your job, it's not going to work at our company. Like, it's just, we've seen people who were amazing at their jobs, but from a culture fit, they just didn't gel with the rest of the team. And so we have a couple of ways that we try to we don't always get it right, but we try to find the right people that all loves working together. That's our thing. Like, you have to love the people that you work together, enjoy working with them. Okay, so if you haven't noticed, today's episode is about company culture. So lots of people talk about company culture, but how do you actually practically know if you have good company culture? How does it show up in your business? So at Motherboard, culture is obviously, we say it in interviews, we repeat this all the time in our business. Culture is number one in our business. And we have lots of things in place during our interview process to try and find the right people that we believe is going to love working together. Because that is in terms of Motherboard, we believe that if people love working together, you just create a good environment, which is part of your culture. So why was it so important when we started Motherboard for culture to be number one?
The biggest reason is having worked in companies where the culture wasn't good and seeing the impact that it had on me personally, and then starting our own company, being like, we can do this however we want. And that is, I think, the key thing. Having seen what bad looks like, how do we not do that?
So give me a couple of examples. What does bad look like? What happened?
I wish it was only one company that I could be speaking to about this. Generally siloed, so everything is siloed. It's like team by team. There's no cross collaboration. I remember the one company I worked at, I got told I'm not allowed to go ask people questions about my role in an industry that I knew nothing about. And I had to literally go to their manager and ask for permission to ask a question. And I remember sitting for 3 days, having followed up, saying, can I please speak to someone, I think it was on the dev team or something, like about a technical question that I have. And it took 3 days, and my question was literally one sentence. And I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs, going like,
I'm stuck.
What? So
and you had AI back then.
So I mean that's one example. And then also the blame game. There's no accountability throughout the organization. It's never ever anyone's fault. Everyone's pointing fingers, trying to cover their own ass. That I can't stand either. And then there's also other places I've worked where it's not necessarily a culture thing, it's a person thing. There'll be one person in the organization who you just like, you are cancerous. Like everything you do spreads negativity. And very quickly I'd remove myself from those people. Like I don't want to sit near you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to go for lunch with you. I don't want to be involved in this drama, but that, like from an individual perspective, I think can have very detrimental effects. And like you mentioned, like our hiring and recruitment process, we bake that in to avoid that. It's never going to be 100% foolproof, but I think that we do a good job in at least getting the team buy-in to say, this is someone that I want to work with.
Yeah.
Well, what are some bad cultures or bad culture companies that you've worked at?
Oh, there was one in particular. I only stayed there for 4 months, and I left because of the culture. I reached my tether at the end of 4 months. That's how long I could last there. I would come to the office every day. The only person that would speak to me and greet me and say good morning would be the person sitting across from me, like in my team. I didn't in 4 months' time get to know anyone in any other department. Working in a company, physically walking into the office every day, going to make coffee in the kitchen, not a single individual will come up to me and go, oh, you're a new person here, hi, welcome. Like, I just felt so unwelcome as an individual. I didn't know anyone on any other team. My manager would speak to me once a week. I didn't even have weekly check-ins, monthly check-ins. None of that happened. The only time he ever spoke to me was when he needed something. I remember one day he walked past my desk, not even saying good morning. I was like, this is crazy. But I think a big part of that was the CEO. the CEO was the person that created that environment. Because I remember it was really interesting. I started noticing that the days when he wasn't in the office, people were a lot more chatty, people were a lot more relaxed, and you could feel the energy shift the moment he walked into the office.
Yes.
And it was crazy how, like, one person, and obviously this is the leader of your organization, the way that he obviously interacted with people or managed people created an environment where it was negative. And so, like, yes, you could have one negative person in your team spreading that toxicity, but if it's the leader of your company, like, what are you to do? And so when I resigned, my manager asked me, like, in my exit interview, why, and I was straight up with him. And apparently what happened was, after I left, literally the next week, they started doing, like, drinks on a Thursday evening, just get different departments to talk to each other. So, like, I think I was probably the first person to go and say, like, this is a big problem in your business, and I am leaving as a new employee because of this. And at least they went and did something about it, right? They tried to at least change it. So something good came of it. But this is also why I said, like, and that was quite a big company. I can't remember how many people, maybe 150 people on the floor that I worked on. But out of 150 people, this was probably a problem for quite a while, and not a single individual felt comfortable enough to go address this. Why? Because the problem was the CEO. And so me leaving, I don't care. So it's easy for me to throw him under the bus or just highlight the problem that he was actually causing for his company.
Leading with fear, not by inspiring people. Yeah. I mean, I have a similar one. Also had a manager who, if they were having a bad day, everyone had to have a bad day. And that dark cloud, and it was, they would arrive in the office and it would be like, ooh, what mood are they in today? Like, what is my day going to be like based on their mood? And it was just, that was like, if I look back in terms of us building our culture, that was very sort of formative in terms of my thinking about how not to do it. My mood should not dictate how people around me feel and operate and do that. So yeah.
I think this makes me think of there was a time earlier this year where we had a very big customer who was at risk, and it was quite a stressful time, and I was working hard to try and build something for this customer so that we can retain him. And I was very stressed. And one of our employees, Rory, is now operations director, he came to you and is like, you are stressed and you are making me stressed. And him calling me out on that made, like, immediately snap me out of it, going, I don't want to be that person that we purposefully don't want in our organization, that if Tanya is in a bad mood and everyone's having a bad day. And I think it's so important for other leaders in the leadership team to call you out. And so I appreciate Rory does that all the time with me. He's like, calling me out to say, if I say something and I don't do it or whatever, like, it's, I think it's really important for, as a leadership team, to call each other out and hold each other accountable, so that, because we are humans, no one is perfect. I certainly am not. And so I think that is another aspect, is as a leadership team, you have to work very closely together to hold each other accountable, because again, your team members might not feel comfortable to come to me. I had an employee at a previous organization, Peñol. She was amazing. She would do this all the time. She was young. She was like a junior in my team. But if I said something that she disagreed with, or she was like, hang on, yesterday you told me this and now you're telling me this doesn't match up. Like, at a young age, she was quite confident calling me out. And I actually, as a manager, learned so much from her, a junior person on my team, because she was the only person willing to, like, say her say. So it's not just from leadership. I think it's, if you get people in your team that can do that, that really does help you as a leader to.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to the leader themselves, though, and how willing they are to take on that feedback, because you will get people who take that personally, and then it's never them, and it's also that blame game. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's never me.
I've got enough experience. I know what I'm doing.
I can never do anything wrong. It must be you. And that's one of our values in the the business's growth, and that is not a growth mindset.
Yeah.
So taking on hard feedback and being a bit introspective with it and be like, okay, cool, what can I do to be better going forward?
Yeah.
So it is a difficult one, and yes, it does depend on the manager. And I think that's also part of culture, is hiring the right people to lead the team and not just manage. There's a very big difference between management and leadership. Someone who can really lead the team. So that, I think, is a critical part of driving culture, is getting the right people into leadership positions and team management positions.
And this is an ongoing thing. I think, yeah, someone can be a natural leader, but there's constant learning and refinement, as especially our company. We're going through so much growth. Things are changing all the time. And you have to be able to take people on their journey and enablement and grow them and push them. Growth, I had a conversation with one of our employees this week. Growth is hard. It's painful. But you can only grow if you feel that pain. Because if everything is going right and everything is going smooth, you're not challenging yourself. You're not pushing yourself to that next level. And we're definitely feeling that as a business, and communicating that we all stepping up our game now. We're going to that next level. We're going to, I don't know, we're motherboard 4.5. I don't know. Every week there's another version of motherboard coming out, because of how fast we're growing. But I guess the culture is, if you're creating an environment where it's okay for people to make mistakes, because making mistake helps you grow and learn and able, and it's okay. Like, as long as you take accountability and you put measures in place for yourself to not make those mistakes again, I guess that's also part of the culture, is when things goes wrong, what happens. So there's a couple of examples of things recently where we've really seen what a good company culture creates in terms of people just jumping in and helping each other.
In terms of putting leadership in place, and I think we're only scratching the tip of the iceberg here in terms of company culture, but I think there's management and leadership are two very different things. And someone can be a great leader but a terrible manager.
Yeah, that's me. I'm terrible at managing people.
But then it could be the other way around. You're great at managing but a terrible leader. So it's marrying those two and the enablement piece around it, and how do you take your leadership team on that journey. So, yeah, and I think, like you say, with our growth, we're in the process of doing that, and it is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, but I think where we are lucky is, I think we do have genuinely a really good company culture, and I think one of the biggest things with that is we treat people like human beings, and like you say, we allow people to make mistakes. And we're very outcomes based. But I think, like, we don't micromanage. I mean, we will micromanage when we have to. No one wants to. No one likes doing it. No one likes being micromanaged. But by and large, and I keep saying to people, if you want to go get a haircut during work hours, I don't care. Put it in your diary, go get a haircut, go get your nails done. As long as you're doing what you have to do on a daily, weekly basis, genuinely don't care. Go pick your kids up, go to their football match, whatever you need to do. Just let someone know, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't just disappear.
Yeah.
And then in terms of sort of the accountability and making mistakes, and there's a lot we can sort of dig into here. I know I'm spewing a lot all at once, but the team is probably tired of hearing me say, don't carry all the bricks.
Yeah.
Don't carry all the bricks. If the bricks do come tumbling down, they are all going to land on you, and it's not a good look. But if you come to us and say, I've messed up, I've made a mistake, or I'm not coping, or I don't know what to do in this situation, you are sharing the bricks. You have gone to someone and said, here's a portion of the bricks that I need you to help me carry, and they might go to other people and say, hey, this person is struggling, they can't hit the deadline, we need someone to jump in and help. You're sharing more of the load of the bricks. And that way, if the bricks do come crumbling down and we can't fix the problem in time, or whatever happens, We're in it together as a team.
Yeah.
And I think not only just saying that, because I say it a lot, people are like I say, I think people are getting tired of me saying it, but living that as well. Like again, it's saying stuff and actually doing stuff. So we do say if you need help or you make a mistake, come and talk to us. We will never ever get mad and shout at you and freak out. It might make us angry, and they might be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this has happened." But at the end of the day, we'll roll our sleeves up and we all in it together and we'll fix it.
Yeah.
So
as long as you communicate. I think that's a big thing in our business that we are reiterating over and over and over and over. Communication.
Yes.
Setting of expectations.
Correct. And I think culture from leadership has also a lot to do with communication. Open and honest communication is key. And one of the things, so now that we've grown a bit bigger, I mean, we have departments now, that still blows my mind. But anyway, is if someone leaves, and whether that's they resigned or they were kindly asked to leave the building, whatever we happen to get to that point, you and I sat and we like, do we actually go and tell the whole team, or do we just tell, or the whole company, or do we just tell the team? And we thought, like, well, now that we're bigger, like, there's people who will never interact with these other people. And actually, one of our weekly company meetings, someone said, like, no, we want to know. Because when we were still small, if someone left, immediately we would call them over in our virtual office to a little spot. It was always the same spot. It got a little bit of a reputation if we called over to people over to that spot. But then we would go and have an open, honest chat about it. It wasn't us telling them. It was like, guys, this is obviously we're not going to go into detail, but we're like, this person has left. Any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, and just having that open communication, and people can go and ask questions, and then at the end of that say, like, if you don't feel comfortable asking these questions in a group setting, you know where our desks are, just come chat to us. We happy to answer any questions. And I think then people know, okay, like, it was just a once-off and it's not a thing. Another example on that is we hired 3 people at the same time. And one of them is now the head of our solutions team. Yusri, he's our head of solutions, and he joined with 2 other people, and the other 2 people were just not doing the work.
Oh my gosh, this I'm still mind blown. Like, how, yeah.
But they just would say they've done it, and you would go and check, and like, you haven't done the work.
Yeah, it was
or you
so
weren't
bizarre.
available, like you.
Or you were just cleaning your room the whole day, and then telling a director this. I'm sick and week in, and I just spent the whole day cleaning my room.
So needless to say that they didn't pass their probation, and that obviously from Yusri's point of view, and he
was amazing from the get-go. Him starting, we were so impressed by him, and we were really worried about what it would.
Yeah, but his mindset is like, I've just started, and the 2 people, because they weren't there for very long, are suddenly gone.
Yeah.
And I immediately messaged him, and I'm like, listen, this is the situation. Don't stress. Like, this is not everyone's got to go sort of situation. You are smashing it. You are coming to the party. You're doing what you have to do. So just to put his mind at ease and treat people like humans.
Yeah. I think I also had a call with him. I remember in the parking lot at Waitrose, because I was walking from the office home. Okay, so from a recognition perspective, right? So lots of companies, like we said, put stuff into place to recognize when people do well. What does good recognition look like? Like, how do you make it not just the same person's always going to win? Like, how do you make recognition part of your culture that drives the right behaviors or incentivize the behaviors that you want?
Well, I think that the first rule, and there are no exceptions to this, if you are not doing this rule, you are doing it wrong. And shout at me at the comments if you think I'm wrong, but you praise in public and you have difficult conversations in private. Don't ever go and call someone out in a public setting. Like, it's just demeaning. It's not where anybody wants to be. And if you are a manager or a leader who does that, I have the sense that that is building yourself up by putting other people down. That's my hard and fast rule. So that's the first thing, and that, I think, is the golden rule, and should never happen in terms of that. So if you're praising people publicly, that makes them feel great, and
it spreads positivity as well.
Spreads positivity.
Again. Yeah, everyone celebrates it.
I genuinely think I could be better at that, but I don't shout at people, and I don't like have difficult conversations in public, or call people out on their failings in public. But in terms of recognition, I think it shouldn't just come from management or leadership. And one of the things that we've done is sort of like an employee recognition scheme where other employees can recognize other employees. And we don't see or know how other people are helping each other in the business. And we call them Benny's Bucks. And someone can nominate someone for Benny's Bucks. There is incentives on that, so they can cash out. They can work up a balance and then cash that out for gift cards or cash or whatever they want. And it's just a good way for other people to see how other people are helping each other in the business. A lot of stuff comes through and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah.
So I think having and enabling that, I think, is also super important.
And that recognition scheme we have is aligned to our values. So you recognize someone for exuding a company value, our grit values: growth, resilience, innovation, and teamwork. And I actually did analysis the other day to see what are the ones that gets most people get the most nominations for. I think teamwork was one of the ones that was highest on the list. And innovation was lowest. And then I was like, we need to have an innovation day. We need to get people, like, we are a very innovative company. We bring ideas all the time, but let's start recognizing people for their innovative ideas. Just bring that to the fore again. But I do like that it's tied to our values. And because people then see that regularly, like I think every week at least we have people nominating each other for Benny Bucks. Again, the first thing is you're nominated for exuding the company value of X. So company values is not just a poster on the wall, like we've created it and then it goes by. I think we talk about it a lot. We obviously have Benny Bucks, which is tied to it. In company meetings, we talk about our grit values quite a bit. So how do company, when they set their company values, how do you not just leave it as a poster on the wall? What are some things that companies can do to really help drive, or how do you set your company values to begin with?
Well, how we set ours, we went to a conference somewhere and someone mentioned grit. And we were like, we do have a gritty team.
Yeah, that feels very much
it's like I spoke to both of us on the inside, and I think that's where it came from. And then I think we looked at who we are as a business, and this is when we were still small, with like 8 employees, like who we are as a business, and the people that we have in our business, and how do we take that grit and turn that into our company values. And then I know we went back and forth for quite a while to get to
I think we had a workshop with everyone in the team, and just on a mirror board we start mapping out what the G, the R, the I, and some of them were instant. I think the one we struggled with most was the G, but like resilience was like everyone was quickly, we're definitely a resilient team, we're definitely innovative, teamwork is definitely there. I think the G was the one that we went back and forth with quite a lot, and we ended up in growth, like having a growth mindset.
Yeah, and how does a company do that? I think, again, living it. Like you can put the poster on the wall, but if you aren't, as a leadership team, exuding that and following that and walking the walk, not just talking the talk, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Culture very much is a top-down thing. You can't expect your employees to drive culture. they embody the culture and they move it forward. And when new people start, they exude those company values with the new starter. But those company values and walking the walk comes from leadership, like 100%.
Yeah. I think your company culture shows up when things are tough. And so, as a leadership team, when you're making tough decisions or your business is going through a difficult time, asking yourself, this decision that we're making, does it exude our company values? How we go
100%.
about communicating it, how we go about implementing it, everything we're doing, this decision we're making right now, it might affect someone. Does it align with our company values? So I think as a leadership team, if you hold that as kind of your rocks in the business to go, okay, we have to make this decision. Maybe we have to move people into different positions or whatever the case is in terms of what you have to do. Are we doing it with our values in place?
100%. And we do have those conversations a lot around how does this affect and how will this align to our company values. So yeah, 100%. So there's a lot of times that we've had other people on the leadership team come and say, oh, can we, let's do this and that. And we're like, no, that does not align with our company cultures. We will not be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for coming for the idea, but absolutely not.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't align.
And it's funny. It's a lot of the times coming from big corporates into our business where there's like big corporates are corporate, and we will get there one day. Touch wood, hopefully not. But those sorts of things, like it's just there's hard and fast rules. That is, it's black and white, done. Whereas people who come in there and we like much more outcomes based and like fluid and fail fast, fail forward, and we want people to succeed because they enjoy working here. And then a lot of the things that work in big corporates won't work for us. I think a good example of us exuding culture and our company values is our recruitment process. And we've spoken to lots of people about it, and I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about it, except maybe the candidates who didn't make it through. But everyone is intrigued by it. And I know you learned this actually at one of your previous companies. And I think it is such a great idea, is the idea of what we call the Christmas party. So we will go through the interview process. We'll match for strengths and skills and go through all of those steps. But the final step is the Christmas party, where the candidate's final hurdle is getting in front of. It used to be the entire company, but now that we've grown so much, it's just that would be wild.
Yeah.
I would hate to be a single person with our entire company. Sure, that would be intense. But it changes. It's always different people, but different people, maybe 8 people, will go into a room and sit with the candidate, and they will ask them, why is a tennis ball fuzzy? If you could be any animal, what animal would you be? And I know I'm just being stupid, but it's just really...
Are you a cool person?
Are you a cool person? The idea being that, would you want to sit next to this person at the Christmas party?
Yeah, are you in Christmas party?
Exactly. So that, I think, has also been a bone of contention at times. And it's been difficult for us as a leadership a few times because we have gone through interviews after interviews with people, and we're like, this person is going to be amazing at this job. And then they get to their Christmas party and everyone's like, nah,
we don't like them.
Yeah. Don't like them. And the amount of times that the discussion, we don't do it anymore because I've pushed back on it hard so many times, where people have come and said, I've been searching for a candidate for so long. This person is perfect. Can't we just hire them? And I'm like, absolutely not. No. Otherwise, if you do that just once, Christmas parties are a waste of time.
Yeah.
If just once you let a person through. We have had, when we first launched and started doing this, which was years ago, we've been doing this for a long time, where someone would go and rate them based on their skills.
Mm.
And then, or there was no context about the role, like we're hiring for a new role. So they'd be like there was factors outside of it just being a culture fit interview, so to speak. And there'd be one person who'd be like, no, I don't like this person, out of however many. And then we have ended up hiring them, but not before going to chat to the people or person who has said that and said, listen, I need to give you some context here. This is our thought process. We've gone through the interview process. And
what
as soon
did
as
you see? What do you think? Yeah, just having a conversation about it.
Getting their feedback and like one-on-one and saying like, listen. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, okay, now that I know that, that makes sense. And then we can have like, are you happy for us to put them through?
Yeah.
And so that's rare. But if majority of the people who interview say no, there's no further discussion. The person gets declined. I'm very sorry. Motherboard is not for you.
Yeah.
And being rigid to that. There's no exceptions around this. And that's just the be all and end all. And I think having us distill in our employees the importance of it and the role that they take in the recruitment process also gives them a sense of my opinion matters within the business, and I'm also have a hand in shaping how this company grows. And I think that's very powerful.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are a fully remote team. And I think a couple of the examples that we've spoken about is like going into an office and feeling that negative energy. How do you, like, how does it show up in remote? I mean, I can think about a couple of examples, but I don't feel like it's that dissimilar in a remote environment where if there is a negative person, you can, like, it does impact people even if you're working remotely. So I guess I have 2 questions. Firstly, is there a big difference between a remote company culture versus a company where you go to the office every day?
Yes.
Yes, 100%. And then how does bad people influence your culture differently being in person versus being remotely?
I think the big difference is in person. I think there's a lot more strategies you can deploy to drive culture. I think it's a lot easier not easier, I wouldn't say easier, but there's a lot more different initiatives you can put in place if you are in person. Mm-hmm. After work drinks, and I know we've just started something similar, but remotely, you're not sitting next to someone and hearing them 24 hours or 8 hours a day. And if someone is super negative and they moan, they're sitting at their desk and moaning and complaining all the time, and they're in earshot, it will grind you down. Yeah. Whereas remote, they can be moaning away by themselves at their house. No one else is hearing that. So I think that's a big difference.
What is one thing as a remote company that you feel has helped us a lot? So like if it's bad, like there's stuff that if you're in person, a negative person can have a big impact quite quickly because you're within earshot and that negativity spreads. So being remote, that's an advantage because you don't have that constantly, and it might show up in team meetings and stuff, but it's a little bit isolated. So that is like a con of not a pro and a con, I guess. Negativity doesn't spread so easily, but maybe it's also harder to pick up potentially. What is one of the advantages of being remote?
Don't have to commute.
But from a company culture perspective, like I think it's a lot harder to have a good company culture. So how have we, because I think we have good company culture and we're always trying to improve it.
Well, we have to ask the team. But
we have to, I think in our survey that we did, one of the things that was one of the highest rated answers was, do you believe that your answers will be taken seriously? Do you believe the leadership team will actually do something with it? And I think majority of people rated it 5 out of 5. Yes, we do. We do believe that the leadership team will do. So I think for me that was like the biggest takeaway of that was there's challenges, we can go fix them, but at least the team believes that their voice matters.
Yes, in terms of remote working versus in office, the biggest driver of culture is our virtual office. Hands down, without our virtual office, Gather, we would not exist as a business.
Yeah.
I so strongly believe that.
Why? Like, what do you believe Gather brings to us that helps make it easier?
Collaboration and communication. The fact that I don't have to Slack someone and wait 3 hours to ask a 2-minute question. I can instead run up to their desk and be like, hey, do you have 2 minutes? Or like you can wave at someone and they get a notification, hey, just like, are you busy? Like, I need your help. And having people being able to run across this, sort of like a real office. And it really, like, it sounds weird, but it gives you that sense of I'm in the office.
Yeah. And it's easy for me to go speak to someone. And I can just see if someone is having a conversation with someone else. Like, I do it a lot of the times. I'll see you and Rory having a chat, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be feeling left out. I'm getting FOMO. I want to be part of this conversation. What are you guys chatting about?
Yeah. And I mean, that's our virtual office is one of the things we started this last Thursday. Every week is Pooza Thursday, which is Drinking Thursday. I mean, Thursdays are the new Friday. So after work, for half an hour, could be longer hour, people can stay as long as they want. We've built a little sort of bar area in our office, and everyone goes into the room and we have a drink together. We laugh and joke and just
talk nonsense,
shoot the breeze. And I think it's similar to being in office where people after work go and say, hey, let's go for a pint. So we'll see how it goes. Like I say, we've had it once. Not everyone could come. We can't do compulsory corporate fun. We do have a few of those, but so yeah, I think that. And then it's just one of the things, like we had our company retreats, which I think is also amazing for culture at the beginning of this year, in March. And everyone was saying, well, everyone I spoke to, well, not everyone, but was saying that meeting people in person, there was no shyness. There was no like, I don't know who you are. Like Gather enabled people to get to know their teammates to such a great effect that when they met in person, it was just like,
yeah, I see you every day.
Carry on. It
wasn't strange.
Yeah. Whereas if you're on Slack and on email and that's how you communicate remotely, you're looking at a person for half an hour a day.
Yeah.
Whereas we bounce between people and chat and hey,
let me quickly go
going?
Chat to this person, run over to their desk. Yeah.
I need help with this. And there are times I post in Slack, hey, can anyone help me? And then someone will run to my desk.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to communicate over Slack. We will say, oh yeah, here's your answer, fair enough. But there's times when like, hey, I need help with this. Can someone help me? And I have people run over to my desk and I can jump in. What do you need, sort of thing. So I think it really opens up communication and collaboration within the team. And like I say, it's invaluable to us.
It's really interesting because if you have an office, there's obviously like cultures and rituals that people get into and you see who are friends. And I feel like Gather also, I can quickly pick up like those people are friends, those people are always chatting with each other. So you definitely get that sense. But there's certain stuff that over time we just started doing on Gather. And now that we've got new starters, we don't realize we have these habits and we're not telling people about it. So a good example is we had a new starter and Rory waved at him. Now, what we do is if you want to chat to someone and you don't want to bother them if they may be in a meeting or something, you'll wave at them. And the new starter just waved back. He's like, oh, this person is nice. I'll just wave back. It's like not at Facebook, you're phoning people. But it's like we formed these little habits where if I wave at someone, it's like, hey, can I come over? And it's like it's not something that we implemented as a rule or something. It kind of just happened as a way of working with people. Because if you wave at someone and you don't...
If you're in a meeting
or whatever and you don't do anything, it will show up almost as like I call it a missed call. You can see someone miscalled you. So then I know, okay, Rob waved at me. When I have a moment, I'll quickly run over to his desk to talk. So it's also quite cool that we have built these little rituals and we've got these little behaviors that's very unique to Gather in our remote office.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I mean, Gather, they are working on and developing it. And I really, really hope someone from Gather hears and watches this, because they have to bring back pets and they have to bring back applause during meetings.
That was so amazing.
Yeah.
I really miss that.
I mean, so there's Gather version 1, which was the OG,
where we started,
and then they overhauled the entire system and rebuilt it on new architecture with new sort of visuals and whatever. And it looks great. But those two things
it's so
it's
small.
unbelievable, and I have been jumping up and down at every opportunity.
On LinkedIn, I constantly comment on the engineer's post.
Everywhere, I am like, bring back applause. Like,
well, the applause is back, but the sound isn't back. So you can now applause. If you press F, it does throw the confetti.
But it doesn't make the sound.
I know.
Without that sound, I am not being hyperbolic here. I reckon Gather loses 25% of its efficacy as a collaboration tool.
Because and the reason for this is to give some context of people that don't know what Gather is or why it is such a thing. What often happened is like the solutions team will have end of day. And so someone would be like, oh, I had this really difficult thing and I was struggling the whole week to figure out how am I going to do this for the customer, and then I had this breakthrough, and then everyone will be like, oh, F in the chat, and then the sound across the entire Gather office would be an applause, and then people would be like, what are they celebrating? Like, I would always like go, hey, what's going on? What are you guys celebrating, right? So it again emulates a real office. You can hear people applauding and clapping hands. Yeah. They're celebrating something. And again, it adds to that positivity, like, oh, we're winning, we're doing cool stuff, like someone solved something.
Yeah.
And if you hear that happening across the day in different teams, it creates a real nice vibe in the office, even though it's not even a physical office.
I am not over-exaggerating when I say Gather would be 25% better, maybe even more, if all they did was bring back the audible clapping.
Please, Gather, please bring it back.
I know they say they've been developing it. I'm like, can you not just go into the code for V1, copy, paste? I know it's not that easy, but it's incredible.
It does make a huge difference.
And then what I also like about it is the more people that clap, the louder it gets. Yeah. And now I remember on company meetings, it would be like you're sitting there for like 3 minutes and it's just going wild, and it's just like, okay, guys, like
enough now. No.
So yeah, hopefully they release that sooner, because they've been making promises for far too many years on that. So yes.
Yeah, I know. Where does I think we've touched on this a little bit, but where does culture show up really? Like, what are some clues that you can get on a day-to-day basis that tells you, other than a survey, like how do you just get the sense of our culture is good, we're doing the right thing here?
I think, and you mentioned it earlier, when things get difficult, how do people show up? Mm-hmm. And we have been through some difficult times as a business, like all companies do. And I remember when we were still a small team, and again, open and honest communication. We're like, guys, financially, we are not doing well from a cash flow perspective. We have a very short runway to turn this around. Otherwise, we are in trouble. And the culture and the type of people that we had, driven by the culture, was so unbelievable to see. How Yusri is one example of this across lots, but him, who was working on the solutions team at the time, was like, I will make sales calls.
Yeah.
I've never done sales. I don't know what to do.
Tell me what we need to do.
Just tell me point me in a direction, and I will do whatever. Try. And that was one example across the entire business of people like, can I do this? How do I? And that is when culture shows up. Because if your culture is bad, people are like,
I'll just go find another job.
I'm going to put out my CV. I'll see if I can find a new job.
Instead of
knuckling down, I am here because I believe in what we are doing.
Yeah.
So I think that is the strongest sign of culture. If things get tough, and it could just be at an individual level, if someone on the team is going through a rough patch or is struggling with their work or their workload, do people jump in and help, or is it like,
Yeah.
I don't care enough to care?
Yeah.
So good luck to you. I will be at home playing PlayStation while you drown or whatever. So I think that is a massive indication of culture. I think it's the best indication of culture. Yeah. And then I think day to day, and especially in Gather, just seeing how people interact and how cross-departmentally people interact. Mm-hmm. I think seeing people from solutions speaking with sales, speaking with leadership, speaking, like, it's just, there's no like barrier, there's no silo. It's not like, oh, I can't go talk to that person. I need to get permission to go have a one question, one sentence question. Like, it's outcomes based, and people push hard to deliver great work because they love and appreciate where they work.
Yeah. I mean, I see it on Slack as well when someone is posting like, hey, something is wrong, I have to take a day off or whatever, how supportive everyone is. But especially when we have like our end of week calls or even our company calls, the amount of personal information people know about each other tells me that people go and have just non-work related conversations with people. People really know what's happening in each other's lives. And I think for me, that's another thing where people care about each other in the business. You know what's happening. You know what, I know their kids' names. I know their birthdays. I know their dogs. I know, like, they've not had electricity for 3 days. Like, people really know what's happening in each other's lives and help each other out when things get tough, jumping in, supporting. I mean, I think as a team, we are very helpful to each other, but it's again because I genuinely care, not just about the company, but about the person and what's happening in their lives. I'm happy to help them out.
I have another question, and thinking about culture, how do you drive culture, but at the same time also drive change within the business? So, like, we are, like you say, motherboard 4, 5, whatever we at, we are trying to up our game. Mm-hmm. And what got us here is not going to get us there. Mm-hmm. And we are now building to get us there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, not only are we growing with number of employees, but we're also growing in the way that we approach how we deliver projects, like how we operate as a business, all of it. So how do we go from, yes, we want you to love working here, we want to be nice people, we want to treat you as humans, but I need you to do X?
Communication. You have to get people to understand why you expect more from them. It was easy when there wasn't a lot of pressure from our clients coming from us, but now, like, we're feeling that pressure. How do we manage that and bring the message across where it's still underpinned by values? And I think this is, we know teamwork is like huge in our company values. We know we are very resilient. And I think our resilience has shown up a lot from being reactive. And now we can't constantly be reactive. There needs to be more proactivity. And proactiveness can only come if there's structure. If you can see things coming, if you plan for it, you don't have to be reactive. But in order to do that, you have to now focus more on the growth part of the values. Why are we doing this? Why do we think you are the right person to help us get there? And here is what we need from you. And I think if you can tell the story in such a way that make people see the bigger picture and why I am asking you to step up, why I'm making it painful for you so that you can grow. If people see, okay, at the end of this, we are going to be a better company. We're going to have less fires to put out. We're going to feel less people will be working overtime to meet deadlines because the hard work and the pain we're experiencing now, if we fix that, the result that we get is everyone benefits. Ubuntu, like we talk about that a lot. Is we are good if all of us are good. If one is good, all of us are good, right? It's a community and we need to help each other. But it's all about helping them understand the why behind it, because people have to buy into that. It's fine, short-term pain for long-term gain. I know we have to change. But if I don't understand why, it's going to be hard to show up and go, I hear you. Cool. You're expecting more from me. And I also now expect more from me because I know what we're working towards.
Yeah, communication, definitely.
The why. Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our 4th episode.
The one thing I want to add, and we were talking about like company perks before we sign off. The one thing, I read a very interesting article the other day, and it was about NVIDIA. I can't remember all the statistics, but basically they have something like it's a ridiculously high retention rate of employees, and all their company surveys come back and they say people love working there. But NVIDIA doesn't give free lunch. They don't have all these Google type benefits that you offer. Oh, we've got an arcade in the office, and we have a nanny who looks after children. Like all of that sort of stuff did not matter. And they did research into it, and what mattered was that employees at NVIDIA got shares in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the NVIDIA share prices make people millionaires. That's also a massive incentive. Fair. But
Why would I leave?
I don't think it's specifically around that, but I think it is
my contribution matters.
Getting people in the business to say, I'm part of something bigger and I see where we're going and I want to make a difference in helping us get there.
And my contribution is
matters,
yeah. Yeah.
100%. And I think that's very telling. Giving people their purpose instead of telling them what to do, I think is two very different approaches. And
well, don't hire someone for their skills and then tell them what to do. You're hiring them because you believe they can do the job. Yeah, I think that's...
Well, there's the one, hire for skills, fire for attitude. It's
exactly.
a pretty common, I think, a pretty common turn of phrase. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, that's it. That's a wrap for today. Episode 4, all about culture. Share your culture stories with us if you have listened to it, if you agree with things, if you don't agree, if you like it, if you don't like it.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know how you driving culture in your business, what's worked for you, any questions that maybe you have challenges with. We'd be happy to hear what you have to say and see if we
come visit our office. Come check out Gather. We love hosting people in our office. Come to our virtual office. Yeah, come check out Gather.
Amazing. And we can chat about it over some coffee. Perfect.
Cool. Over and out.